and I felt the car pulling to the right, but pulling a lot. And Pikes Peak, you don't see the edge very well. You don't know if you are 50 centimeter or 1 meter from the edge. And I felt the car going there, and I pushed the throttle even more. I remember I was really, at the throttle. I think never in my career, really, I have been so motivated not to lose the race,
Hello and welcome to the RACER Debrief. We're counting down to the 103rd Pikes Peak International Hill Climb, and today we've got a very special guest. It's fair to say a Pikes Peak legend. Welcome, Mich묶le Mouton.
Hello, everyone.
Mich묶le, it's perfect timing because it's 40 years since you became the first woman to win the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb, and you're also being recognised this year. You will be entering the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb Hall of Fame. I know that you will be at the event for that. Looking back, how significant does winning Pikes Peak in 1985 feel to you now?
I have to say, very, very important. It was a very important race. At different level. First of all, because it was only the second time for me to do Pikes Peak, and I was the first European driver and the first woman to drive at Pikes Peak, and I have to say, with a difficult time that I had with some. I would say, macho guys over there. They make my life very difficult, and to win this event was really something very strong in my mind, and the feeling was that I couldn't lose this race, and so to win there, it meant something very important for me, very important.
Now, as you say, Mich묶le, you had actually gone there for the first time in 1984.
Yeah.
You brought Fabrizio Pons along, your regular WRC co-driver.
Yeah.
So that first year, did you treat Pikes Peak as basically a 12.4 mile special stage?
Exactly. For me, it was really too long to learn it by heart and to remember each corner. And, Fabrizio was very light, so I thought, two women quite light in the car should be okay, compared to some American big guys, so so I proposed to the team manager, to Roland Gumpert, to drive with Fabrice. It was easier. We were so used to the notes. I thought it was much easier for me, and and I think we did quite well. So it went well, in fact. Yes.
Well, yeah, second overall and top of the open rally category. So came back the following year, and I believe Roland had suggested that since weight is king, Fabrizio would basically be out of the car in 1985.
Yes.
And it was you on your own. How did that change your mindset?
It changed your mind, but in a way, when you know the road, it's a different feeling when you drive with notes. You are concentrated on what you hear, and also, of course, on what you see. But when it's your memory, you are concentrate only focus on what you see, because your memory is going together with what you see, the road. So it's a different feeling, but the result is the same. The second year I was, I did a lot of practice, and I was ready to learn better, and it was no problem to do it alone. I was used also in the past to drive few hill climbs in Europe, only for me to get used to immediately, when you have only one stage, short stage to do, you have to concentrate to give the maximum from the start. You cannot lose. In rallying, you have so many stages that if you are not at the limit for the first one because you want to feel everything, you have time then. But in hill climb, you have to be really quick. So as an exercise, I was doing some hill climb in the beginning of my career to help me to give the maximum from the first stage. So I did it without any problem the second time. Yeah, and I was ready for that.
And obviously, the second time as well, it was the S1 version of the Audi Quattro. Maybe not the most user friendly rally car ever built. So, given the drops, given the altitude changes, just given how extreme a challenge Pikes Peak is, how much getting used to it did it have to be with the S1?
Yeah, we had the main problem was this turbo, to try not to lose too much power with the turbo. And I know we did some training and some testing, a lot of testing with the engineer to test different electronic boxes and to find the finest one, the more tuned one for the altitude. So we have been working hard with Audi to try to find the best compromise between altitude and the turbo. Yeah.
Was it still a case of, obviously Pikes Peak, the first time you run the whole course is race day. You're basically running sections prior to that. How do you get in the mindset where you join the dots and it becomes a single flowing section?
No, because both of them, and I don't remember anything strange to me. The race day I was so concentrated on going on the limit, even more than the limit, because I had a hard time on the second part of the hill, and it was difficult, but I wanted to give the maximum I could, and the rest, you are on the road and the car is going and you don't have time to think about if you did the junction or not between the first part and the second part. It was not a problem at all. But I had only a hard time because nearly after the middle part, the second half part of the hill, there is 4 corners, nearly flat, except the middle one. And when I reached there, I knew that the 4 corners were arriving, and I promise you, I nearly tried to go flat out on the middle one. And I felt the car pulling to the right, but pulling a lot. And by speed, you don't see the edge very well. You don't know if you are 50 centimeters or 1 meter from the edge. And I felt the car going there, and I pushed the throttle even more. I remember I was really, at the throttle, and it went. Next corner, the next hairpin right after that, I even brake later than during the recce, I was so motivated. It's something unbelievable. I think never in my career, really, I have been so motivated not to lose the race,
Well, that run, Alonso Jr. had set the hill record a couple of years previously. Michelle, you beat it by 13 seconds, so definitely deciding to go flat out through those final curves definitely helped.
For sure.
But here's the thing: you alluded to the fact that it wasn't made easy for you in 1985. You were definitely, by the organisers, made out to be the enfant terrible with speeding penalties, accused of throwing gravel at marshals.
No, I don't think that, but I think this story of overspeeding, it's where I thought that really they have been very hard trying to make me lose the race, because they knew that I was fast anyway. by the time I was doing the previous year and during the practice. So, to give me this penalty not to be able to be in the car, belt on and everything, we had to fight. We had to organize a press conference to speak about safety. What about my own safety? I think it has been really too much, and I remember when I entered the race control, the race director was there, but two drivers were there, seated with their kids on their knee, telling me that I could have killed because I was 5 miles over speeding.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure if it would have been Anu Michała or Blomqvist, this would have never happened, And because of that, I really, maybe they didn't know my character, but it didn't put me down. I was really decided to show that I could do that. So despite the condition.
Because the compromise reached, you still weren't allowed to do a conventional Pikes Peak start, I believe.
Yes, at the end, because at the beginning, I was supposed to jump in the car on the line, So
Wow.
can you imagine? So when we discussed that with Gumpert and all the team, we said, it's no way, because of course, I mean, like me, that means you lose everything. And then from this penalty, we went to the penalty because I said, okay, I could have killed a child by overspeeding 5 miles, but what happened if I kill myself during the hill?
Yeah.
Because I am not in the good condition to start, my belt is not properly put and everything. So then it has changed. And it became a penalty where you can see the mechanic pushing my car, but I was allowed to be in the car, belt on, engine on, but no gear. No gear. It's why you see the mechanic pushing my car on the line. And I thought, I will show you that this doesn't break me down,
You didn't come, obviously, the following year, you left Audi, you joined Peugeot. You had amazingly successful campaign in the German Rally Championship.
Yeah.
If you'd stayed with Audi, obviously Bobby Unser then took over the Quattro for 86. If you'd stayed with Audi, would you have wanted to come back to Pikes Peak and defend your crown?
No, I don't think so. It was too much. Really, it was too much. I wanted to show, but I would have never come back.
Well, that's, mission accomplished and, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you are a driver, you come there and you have this attitude, I mean, really, it's not a normal penalty. I mean, we could see by the penalty that it was just to avoid me winning this event. And this was difficult to accept, really.
Did you need much convincing to come to Pikes Peak in the first place in 1984? Or was that something where when it was presented, definitely I want to do this? Or?
No, for sure not. The first year, Audi was opening the market in America, and, it was a new adventure. I mean, of course, we knew that, this race was really a very special race, and by the altitude and it was I will say scaring for when you are not in the car, it was quite scaring to go around, and but when you have to do something, as a driver, we do it. and I thought it's only an uphill, so it's okay. Downhill would have been more difficult, but in uphill,
Oh, gosh, yeah.
it was no problem at all. No, I was very happy to come, and I had really, people have been very friendly and very nice with me. So everything was fine. But then when the second time, it was not the same story.
Before that first one in 1984, how much did you familiarise yourself with? Obviously, you had Fabricia, you were going to play it with pace notes, but did you do the classic rent a car, pay your ticket, and sort of climb the hill as almost in tourist mode?
Do I remember that? I remember the practice. I remember that Audi rented another hill close
Ah,
by. Yeah, and we were doing, the testing. But I don't know. I didn't take any special car to go. If it was allowed, maybe we have done that. To get before you write the notes. Maybe I did that, but it's not something that I have in my mind, especially. But I think it was allowed to go on the hill as a normal driver. So if it was, for sure, we have done that before writing the note with a rally car, maybe. But I
now,
don't remember really.
obviously, your reputation preceded you in terms of being the prior to even appearing at Pikes Peak, already the most successful woman driver in World Rally Championship history. Just want to go back to 1981 and 1982. 1981, obviously, you joined Audi with
Yeah.
the all-wheel drive Quattro. Made a breakthrough with the win in San Remo, where it became a real dogfight between you and Ari Vatanen. And in the end, as we get to the end, you kept your nerve, you kept pushing. Ari was the guy who went off.
Yeah.
In terms of that breakthrough win, how much did that? How significant was that to you?
It was very important. Sanremo has been very important. One, because it was a very difficult event. A rally, half on gravel and half on asphalt, on tarmac. So, night and days, very long. So you are very tired when you arrive for the last night in Sanremo. And, on top of that, I was leading by 32 seconds. So, of course, you have a lot of pressure. You have a lot of, you are tired. You cannot fall asleep. I remember that instead of going to sleep the few 4 or 5 hours that we had in front of us, we went back to do the recce of this last loop for the night.
Wow.
So I slept only 2 hours or maybe 3, that's all. So difficult. But when we started the stage for this 40 kilometer or something like that, close to 40 kilometer, I look at Fabricia and she remembered that. And I said, Fabricia, one of us will make a mistake in this stage. So we will start the stage in the same mood as if it was the first one. And I really wanted to do that, both of us, And so I tried to relax and I did the stage in this mood, thinking, clear, not pressure, not trying to push, not trying to go faster. Because I was sure, it was so much pressure, I was sure. And when I heard that Ari did the mistake, first of all, I realized that I was right. And the second thing, of course, I knew that we could win. So after that, you feel stronger in the way that first is your first WRC event win. And also because I felt I was strong enough mentally to cope with this pressure, despite being very tired and, with a lot of pressure. So it has been very important for the other event because when you can win once, you believe that you can win twice, of course.
And then carrying that momentum into 1982, obviously, fantastic win in Portugal, toughing it out in Brazil, one of those slightly more extreme events in the World Rally Championship. Yeah. And also that Acropolis win, which I think was
also very important.
Yeah, and taking it to almost to the finish. Obviously, you came into Ivory Coast. You just suffered obviously a family loss with your father. It became a head-to-head with you and Walter Rall. But when you look back on that season, is that basically, is it one of those coulda, shoulda, woulda? Or did the season play out, it couldn't have played out any other way for you?
Of course, of course, it could have been, finishing better. But, all the year around, I mean, we had those 3 wins. And how to say, you feel ready. You feel ready. Of course, the situation was difficult. But I think even without this situation of my father passing away, the morning I started the race, I was 1 hour, 20 minutes ahead of Val. When I started to feel that the gearbox was a little bit harder to change the gear than it was not a problem, but I felt, I was very sensitive to feel my car all the time. So when I mentioned that it started to be hard, we decided to change because I was so much time ahead. Otherwise, we would have not changed. So sometimes I could think, did we do right to change the gearbox? Maybe I could have coped because maybe only in fourth gear, with 1 hour, 20 minutes, I could have finished the run, But this is a story. I mean, the history is that, we changed the gearbox, they made a mistake. Everything didn't work after that when I went back in the car. We lose all the time that I had, and all that is history now. You cannot change that. So, but it's the only thing. I have been thinking about that, saying, maybe it would have been better not to change. But when you know things and you know history, then of course you would like to change, but it's impossible.
Well, 1983, starting the season there with the A1 and getting some strong results. It seemed that the introduction of the A2 later in the season, Mich묶le, you seemed to be the bad luck magnet. If anything was going to fail on an Audi Quattro in that second half of the season, it seemed it was on Mich묶le Mouton's car.
Yeah.
I mean that.
Yeah, but 82 was the same for Anu, So Nicolas, so. This is motorsport. You have always years where it's better than another. And of course, it's part of the game.
86, Peugeot, German Rally Championship, and also the end of Group B. But unlike other drivers who maybe have sort of hung around, waited into the Group A era, Mich묶le, you made a hard and fast decision to retire from the World Rally Championship at the end of 1986. I mean, did it feel like that was the right time to sort of pull back at that point and end a WRC career that had given so much?
You just have to know that always in my mind, I never lost that in my mind. I wanted to have a private life and have children. So this was always in the back of my mind. But when you have everything going well, and success, it's difficult to stop. But when, I really decided to stop in Corsica, so in May, when our FIA president, Mr. Ballest, announced after Henry Stoverden accident that he will stop the Group B at the end of the year, I was already engaged with my partner, and to change from Group B to Group A for me was going backwards. So immediately I said to Frederick, I said, if they stop Group B at the end of the year, I will stop. And it's what I did, because somewhere I was waiting for an occasion to stop. It's something that I had in mind. I was 35. Okay, for a woman, it was really not the limit, but it was time to think about that. And this was just the opportunity. And I tell you, you can ask, I said that immediately in Corsica. If they are really stopping Group B, I will stop. And I never regret it, I tell you.
But it also opened some very intense and productive chapters on your career going on. And notably, you mentioned, Frederick, you mentioned this is when you got into the race of champions, something which became pivotal to you for probably 2 decades through the 90s and through the noughties. To begin with, that event was, I believe, something of a tribute to Henri Toivonen.
Yes, we, in fact, so I stopped 86, 87. I had my lovely daughter Jessie, and so after that I had more time. And with Frederick discussing, we thought about this kind of race because it never happened before, where you can have all the drivers who usually are driving different cars, to put them on the same car, on the same stage, to see who is the best one, the fastest one. And so it's what we did. And I had time and he had time also, and we created the race. And that's all. It was like a new challenge to start with. And you see, it's still today going on. So, and my daughter is 37. So.
Did you ever envisage it would reach a point where in a stadium, Michael Schumacher would be taking on Sebastian Loeb?
No, never. And to come back to Henri Toivonen, of course, it was we started 88. Henri passed away 86, so it was just 2 years after Henri. And when you organize a race like this, we want it because Henri would have been the next champion. He was really so good and so doing so well that he would have been the world champion. So we thought it was really a good thing to think about him and to organize this event in memory of Henri Toivonen.
I remember on the 85.
It's always on Henri Toivonen.
Oh yeah.
No, Henri was a great friend also. Huh?
He was a genuine rallying superstar. Watching him 85 RAC rally and just seeing Henri in the S4. I was there in Dolby Forest, and not quite as terrifying a place maybe as Kielder, but just seeing Henri's commitment and just seeing his speed in the S4. Yeah, you knew he was the 86 world champion. So
I know.
Events overtook
I have
us.
been fighting against him in fog, in Kielder, in all the other. It was crazy night, fighting each other in the stage. I know. It was very fast.
Now, Michelle, another career turn in 2010 when you became the FIA's head of the Women and Motorsport Commission.
Mm-hmm.
I know that has been something that has been extremely important to you. Obviously, you as a trailblazer yourself for women in motorsport, but to become an advocate for giving women opportunities, giving women the impetus to compete in motorsport. Just give us some background on that and give us your take on maybe how things have moved on, how they haven't moved on even in recent years.
Yeah, but this was another challenge because being at the federation, you see the motorsport differently from a different perspective, and when I got the support of Jean-Todt for this commission, of course we tried, and I had the support of Cathy Muller, who is also a very great driver in France, racing driver. And we have been working hard together to try to find the best way to support women in motorsport. And I have to say that, the last program that we had with Ferrari for the girls has been really incredible. When you can have a selection of good drivers and give them from very young age the opportunity to go on karting and then Formula 4 and continue with the support of a great manufacturer like Ferrari in a very professional condition. It's exactly what we need to hope one day to have a woman in Formula 1. So for me, we have achieved very a large action for women in motorsport, and they continue now. They continue also, but still you don't solve. Even if you try to find solution to promote and to support and encourage young women in motorsport, still is difficult because how to say and to explain that the base of the pyramid of men starting in motorsport is huge compared to the base of women starting. So if you don't increase this number, it will be always difficult to find someone who can go to the top, because already for men, how many do we know who are at the top? Not so many. So in comparison, I think that when I left in 2022, when I left the commission after 12 years, I think it was still 5% of women involved in motorsports. So, the percentage is not big enough. So we have developed, and the FIA and the other like Suzy Wolf, they have developed structure to get more women involved in motorsport. And we need to continue this work, because I think that more we will have more women interested in motorsport, and more we will have women who can maybe have the chance, the talent, and the motivation to go so far.
It does seem extraordinary that since your last WRC win in 1982, there have been women co-drivers winning overall World Rally Championship events, but not another driver. Since 85 in your Pikes Peak hill climb win, there hasn't been another woman winning the overall King of the Mountain. It feels like, as you say, it's the grassroots where we have to build from. There are 6 women starting this year's Pikes Peak hill climb, including Lonnie Unser, an incredibly famous name on the hill, including Mich묶le Legge, an Indy 5, Catherine Legge, an Indy 500 starter. So it's progress, but it feels like, as you say, the base of the pyramid is still to be scaled to the point where it becomes the norm.
Yeah, and knowing this, I know it's the fact. But when you know that I never wanted to be a rally driver, sometimes I don't understand how I never wanted to do. I started, I was 22, I didn't know what was the sport. My father said, I prefer to see you driving than being co-driver. And here I am. So it's really something difficult to understand. Is it the motivation? Is it the character? Is it the luck to get always a good car to continue? But of course, if I got good cars, it's because I showed that I could be fast with a small car previously. But it's really sometimes for me, when they ask me the question, why there is no other one? And especially also maybe in rallying, because it was more women at my time than today. The girls are more interested in racing. And when I speak about women in motorsport, in my mind today, I speak about women in racing. I don't know. There is less interest in rallying, or is it because my sport has changed a lot from being a marathon in the 80s to a sprint today? Is it because it was also difficult to find sponsor and to find money. Motorsport has always been expensive. a different level, but always expensive. So I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why. But anyway, the answer for me is that we have to increase the base and to get more women interested in motorsport.
Mich묶le, just want to touch on some other thing that you have been heavily involved in, and that is safety in rallying. The FIA's safety delegate on WRC rounds for a number of years. And obviously you come from a time, the height of Group B, where I recall it may have been a quote from you where, for instance, on events like Portugal, where you almost had to feel, don't think of these as people, think of these almost as trees. I mean, obviously we've come on immeasurably since then. How much do you feel the WRC has improved in terms of safety? And how much do you feel WRC being a sport where people can still go into the forest, people can still go onto closed public roads and see the cars? How much of that journey towards ultimate safety do we still have to make?
Yeah, safety has improved a lot. From my time, for sure, we even don't speak about that because it was no safety at all. I mean, it was no major, nothing really thinking about safety, you know. So people were on the road. Since then, we had some accident, and FIA has done a lot of work on that. And I have to say, during the 7 or 8 years that I was responsible for safety, we have increased safety by different, very, I would say, simple measure, but to make people understand, you know, you have to educate people. And with the organizers, everyone has been trying to support, to move back all the zone for the spectator, and to try to convince them that they could see as well when you are 20 meters from the road that if you are on the edge, it's even better. But we have all these measures, and on top of that, today we have somebody from FIA in the race control with all live onboard cameras watching the live when the first car starts and to see where people is. And we can control today, because if we see people on bad location, we can stop the stage immediately. So we have a good control today on people. And of course, by experience, year after year, people, they know now that they are seen by cameras. And so it's easier to manage safety in WRC, but it has been hard work and a lot of work, yeah.
Just going back to Pikes Peak, which is one of those, if you haven't spectated at Pikes Peak, it is one of those must-see events. And you can follow all of the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb action live on the RACER network and on RACER Plus. Race day is Sunday, June the 22nd, and we have multiple hours of live coverage of the race to the clouds. Mich묶le, you are returning to Pikes Peak to become a Pikes Peak Hall of Fame member. Hugely deserved. Is this your first visit to Pikes Peak since 85, or have you?
Yes,
Gosh,
it's the first time I am back. Yes, 40 years. I know it will be a different hill climb.
well, it's asphalt now. It's not the good old days of dirt.
Yes, I have seen it with a different French driver who did Pikes Peak 3 years ago, and yeah, it's an honor. It's really I feel privileged to be invited, and I am looking for it, and looking to go back to the hill and to see all the new. I don't know if I will recognize something, but because I have still, you know, the road in my mind anyway.
Well, it's still very fast at the top.
I'm sure.
It may be asphalt, but it's still, those... We were speaking to Romain Dumas a couple of days ago, and he pointed out how crazy maybe the last sections are, and now that you are actually approaching them with with pure racing lines.
Yeah,
Definitely a different challenge.
for sure, for sure.
One of the other things, Michelle, as well, is that you'll be taking part in a Women in Motorsports forum while in Pikes Peak. I believe chaired by Lynn St. James, another pathfinder for women in motorsport.
Yeah,
Want to make people aware of that, because that will be a must-see event. Also includes Lonnie Unser
yeah.
on the panel. So, Michelle, it may be your first visit back in 40 years, but it will be, I think, a busy and very satisfying few days for you in Colorado.
I am very happy to go back and to see all those women around. And, you know, I have been working with Lynn and during the time I was at the FIA also. So it's a great pleasure. And to see that I am not alone anymore there, you know, because it's a different feeling when you are alone and you have all these men, you have all those men around. It was quite a challenge, I have to say. And to come back now will be. I am happy to go back. Very happy.
Well, Michelle, thank you for finding the time to check in with the RACER debrief today, and enjoy the trip to Colorado. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.